So this is the studio. I'm in the middle of a shot. There's not a whole lot to see. I'm gonna bring you over back. The beauty of this space, it's tiny. It's a tiny little box. Is that there's no C-stands on the floor. There are a ton of lights, and we didn't really have a whole. We had an array of grip equipment, but it's a testament to Chach's ability to sort of clean rig. This is a sort of a spider web of arms, grip equipment that relies on itself for support, and a lot of big heavy lights are hanging on that.
All these angles and everything turns around. All the walls change constantly. So now we're actually looking into a mirror, so we're seeing two vantage points at one time. So it's always keeping us on our toes in terms of trying to keep continuity.
Less is more, you know, like maybe you can do the same with one 500 that you could do with a bunch of little Inkies or something. So we're trying to be dramatic with the lighting, but also, you know, give it a
Trying to be
economical look, but also, you know, get the most out of these lights as we can.
There's so many reasons to use fewer lights, and ultimately, at the end of the day, it actually looks better if you spend more time sculpting one light versus, you know, just adding more lights to do what you're trying to accomplish. It ends up kind of, you lose the effect. So one light, you know, just placed, I would rather spend more time just getting that just right and then not setting other lights. Or, you know, the fewer the lights, the more elegant it tends to look, the more striking, the better contrast, less double shadows.
This is talking about like access. This is one of the most.
As much as I've tried to give him tons of access around the set, of course, right near the character where he has to be, there's the friggin' camera, and there's the
it's
mirror.
It's one of these.
Touch.
It's like
if he even breathes on that mirror, you know, it'll change.
And it's mostly because we want to get the shot we want to get, and so you always put the camera in your way.
Yeah.
It's all. This has been a completely in-camera project.
Yeah, everything's been done practically. None of the, so far, none of the elements have had to have required a composite. We've managed to, which is also an economical thing, because if you have to, you know, do cutaways and things that require a green screen backdrop, that means another day, another set has to get built, and you know, and ultimately composites usually don't look as good as if you can achieve it practically.
But like, you know, CG and 2D, it's a fabricated reality. It's
kind of like the original Star Wars series versus the new Star Wars series. You know, there's a lot more going on visually, but it doesn't look as good.
Talking to you, George. Come on.
Just my opinion, George.
The soul is still here, waiting for you to
don't
come
have me
back
killed.
to the good side of the phone.
Come back.
So I'm using a Canon Digital Rebel 6.3 megapixel, right off the shelf, kind of consumer grade camera. But I've been really happy with it. There isn't a whole lot of flicker. It handles the color really well. And one of the big fears is that you're going to get flicker
between frames.
Exactly, because these cameras aren't really designed and built to shoot sequential images that get later turned into QuickTime movies. They're designed to shoot nice still photographs. So there is a little variance. You know, you have the same lighting conditions, the same character, and you shoot the same shot twice, and the way the chip handles the light and the way the...
But the shortcomings are there's no live out. So in order to light a shot when we're framing up, when Misha and I are setting up a scene, because there's no live out, we actually have this little tiny spy camera which we taped onto the viewfinder so that we can at least see the frame.
This is what we're looking at as far as, like, you know,
it's
our
crappy
animation.
It's a crappy cropped frame, but
you can see the mirror flexing because the room cooled down and the mirror's tweaking up. It's been like we're squeezing this project in between life, which is make money, and you know, pay that rent. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's been a whole series of compromises.
Yeah.
And but wow, I mean, we squeezed some good weeks and months out of
We've been
just
fortunate.
downtime. This is like a lab. Everything happens here. I shoot it here, and I process it here, and I make the movies here, and I can color correct and do all my compositing right on this computer. So that's the revolution this medium has experienced in the last 10 years. If you can afford the luxury of making your own film, you're lucky. Remember that.
It's worth it, though. I mean, just the first sequence of this film, which lasts all of like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, has gotten you 3 jobs. So it's worth it when you can accomplish expressing yourself in your art. Have faith, because it will work out. That's been my experience. There's no one wants you to do it when you're doing it, but once you're done, everyone loves it. It's not always the case. Some people make art that no one likes, which is important too.
Isn't there like an allegory, like an old-timey allegory, like build it and they will come, like Chicken Little or one of those? I don't know.
Something. I don't know. I found it to be true, though.
But
if you can make the time, it's worth the sacrifice.
Yeah, just hit me.
The fuel on this jar has been tea, whiskey, ciggies, all the W's, wine, whiskey. But I don't know how chili peppers fit into that. But I gotta say,
You're a masochist.
KP. Biggest juxtaposition shot right here. Boom.